Hey, what's going on? What's up, Jen?
Hey.
How you doing?
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday?
I think so.
Are you sure?
I think so.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about any of these things. Oh no, I just went off the wrong screen. So what's up, man? This is the Jenn and Molly show, the first edition.
First edition.
Yeah, man. So hello to any poor soul that accidentally stumbled upon this feed.
And I mean, you can't really escape because if we're probably streaming on a couple different channels at this point.
Yeah,
so
we are. We
watch
definitely
out.
are. We definitely are. So, bear with us for a second as we work through these technical difficulties or adjustments, if you will. I don't know if anybody can see this yet or not. Can you guys see this?
I think they can. I don't know. I just got the notey.
Yeah, I didn't get the notey.
I got the notey.
Oh shit.
It looks like I'm the only person watching though right now, but I got the note.
We got to start someplace. Oh, there it is. Oh, I'm going to start I can't start a watch party. I don't have any friends on Facebook anymore.
You're not on Facebook.
I'm not on Facebook. That's really the problem. So what's up, y'all? Today, we decided to launch the Jenn and Molly show because we want to talk about the acquisition of Gimlet and Anchor by Spotify.
Yeah, what's up, Spotify? I think that was a brilliant move, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, yes, no, maybe so. I'm trying to make sure I'm in my camera angle here. But I think that, we should talk about this, man. We should talk about this. I mean, people have been talking shit about podcasts for a long time. A lot of people feel like they've missed the boat on podcasting, which is crazy to me because it's podcasts have been around for a long time.
Right.
For sure. But nobody's missing the boat. First of all, there's no podcast boat.
There's no podcast boat.
Don't wait on the docks. It's not coming ever. But no, I think that people really feel that way, but I think that we're moving into this whole other generation of podcasting. It's not what it was. It's not the same as what it was. And I think people like Joe Rogan, not to bring up the stereotypical podcaster, but I mean, he does make $10 million a year off of it without any network assistance.
Right.
So I think that's valid, but it's really interesting to see that Spotify.
Well, here's the thing, in 2018, there was the news that came out that we heard now is that podcasting was finally industry wide adopted, right?
Right.
But again, like you said, podcasting's been around for a while. I think we're seeing this as the new media, and now that Spotify is acquiring the Gimlet media, the Anchor, which was more so the DIY podcasting,
right,
is that it's taken that proof of concept and saying, listen, it's corporate now.
Right.
A big company is acquiring these other companies. I mean, now is Apple going to buy SoundHound? Probably. Right?
I mean, well, it's interesting because just a few months ago, I remember when I was preparing to set up to form Heartcast Media, and it was there was some company, I can't remember, I'm trying to find it right now, but they were scaling back on their podcast because they spent a bunch of money and then it wasn't worth it and they were scaling back. But I think they just struck too soon,
Yep.
I mean, I think we should talk about why are people listening to more podcasts now? I blame Trump, frankly.
I mean, if we want to talk about the T word, but that's if we want to capitalize off of the Trump, it's start a podcast. I think we're in a post cable network world right now,
for sure.
And the post cable network world is where a lot of people are putting Trump aside, but really going towards niche media, right? I mean, you have Netflix, you have Hulu customizing content to the user,
right?
And so podcasts is that they can be about a very specific topic and people want to consume it and you can listen to it. I mean, it's the future of voice, right?
Right.
People rather listen to something than watch it, become seamless, or have the options to watch or listen.
Well, I would say that people would rather watch than listen, to be honest. But I think people would definitely rather listen or watch than read.
Oh, God, reading. I don't think I can. This article I have open right now on CNET, and I just read the headline and probably the first two paragraphs. And now I'm too many words.
I mean, ironic. I don't even know how to read. You know what I mean? So that's the plot twist of the century right there. But it's really crazy. And I read some headline that said that it was a $200 million deal for Gimlet. Yeah. So that's interesting. And I'm definitely more curious about Gimlet. You know what I mean? What's their deal?
So, from my understanding, Gimlet's more of they produce these pretty big podcasts, right? So, what is also interesting about this acquisition, it's taking, and if you pay attention to both of the two types of companies. Gimlet is more a production studio for these bigger podcasts. You know, they produce Reply All, which is a big one.
Right.
Anchor is a tool, as a DIY tool for podcasters.
Which is super interesting because it's like, yeah, and it says on here, you know, $200 million. But it's not clear how much the company has spent on Anchor. And, you know, so this really brings up an interesting topic because people are pretty divided about Anchor. They're like, because Anchor is like super great if you want to record shit from your phone or if you don't know what you're doing and it just does all the work for you or whatever. But then by uploading your content there, they own it.
Right.
So what does that mean? Does that mean now that like moving into this deal that like, you know, you're not going to own your podcast content anymore? Like now all these networks are going to buy it up. So then, you know, the resistance will become real when they try to like suppress and silence the non-funded, non-corporate, non-owned, you know, franchised or whatever you want to call it content. You know, these guys are going to start, you know, squeezing out and putting like bigger ads on stuff and it's going to vary a lot.
Right. I mean, it's the new media. We are entering the next era of media. It's, first off, we can create it ourselves, right? So if you look at how much money people spend on super ad commercials, we're veering away from some of that. We're, as the consumer, we are going out and getting that sponsorship money.
Right.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, Spotify is thinking, listen, if we can take some of this ad money off of the sponsors who are paying for these podcasts episodes because they want subscriptions, which means that they're not going to get so much money for their own ads because I don't want to listen to ads.
Right.
But if they own these podcasts, then they can get some of the revenue of that sponsorship.
Well, or just the plays itself, like the traffic. You know, I'm curious to see if, you know, does Spotify have a YouTube channel? I'm really curious about that.
I would ask Alexa if we had one in here, but
I'm not asking Alexa anything. That bitch is spying on all of us.
More or less.
Yeah, more or less.
What is it?
Okay, so Spotify, it does not seem like it has its own channel. There's lots of videos about Spotify, but there's not like a Spotify like YouTube channel that automatically popped up and you would think. So that's interesting to see like what's going to happen if Spotify is now going to start, you know, monetizing those video podcasts and stuff on their own, like on a YouTube channel where they can get paid per play.
Yep.
Or, I mean, obviously on their own network, but their own network can only handle audio. So I'm curious to see, like, if they're going to lean more towards audio only or if they're going to do video and audio or...
Think about, I mean, even so, there was MTV in all the music videos. VH1, that was all the hot, right? There's Hollywood that capitalizes off all these movies. I mean, it's a new form of production companies.
Right.
And acquiring... you don't need a Hollywood producer or director necessarily to create some of this media.
Right.
You know? Just get the Jenn Molly show.
Right.
You know, to that
point. There's a Hollywood producer, but we're just not showing her right now.
Right.
Right, Panama?
Yep. Yes, look at that. Yes.
Exactly.
But I think this is an interesting stage that we're in because it is still the influx of, you still have like the big corporations. You still have Hollywood, not Hollywood. That was a show, by the way.
That's a whole nother episode.
I don't know if you guys watched that, but I did. 3 6 Mafia. Anyways, so aside from that, you do have this time where there's so much media around. You know, you have the movies, you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have podcasts. I mean, it's really overwhelming. I'm curious to see in the next 10 years what that's going to look like, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting time, man. What a lot of money to spend on, like... Then they're going to spend a further $400 to $500 million on multiple acquisitions in 2019 to get even deeper into the space. The
question is, do you think, in regards to investor, let's say, for a stock, I don't know, you know, putting this aside, cybersecurity is it's a very safe zone to invest in.
Right.
A Spotify, you know, they're definitely getting all these acquisitions, but they're not, I mean, Amazon is Amazon, right? I mean, it's just growing. I don't know if if I would really want to invest in a Spotify right now, I would want to see like what's going to happen with them, because there could be, like, Apple could eat them alive, quite, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
or they could eat Apple alive.
or they could, but that's the thing is that Apple. How do you think Apple feels right now? Are they getting scared? Are they going to do the SoundHound thing? Are they going to take a different direction? Because they still have not gotten their music thing under control. I mean,
what's SoundHound?
it's another
Distribution hub thing.
But do you know Apple is it's very I don't even know where my music is that I bought years ago, you know?
Oh yeah, that's a fucking scam. I'm so over it. They're like, would you like to upload your purchased albums? And I'm like, yes. And then they're like, oh, right. Sorry.
Where's my Kazaa and Napster music that I acquired, you know?
Wow.
That's why Spotify wins. I could pay $10 a month, no ads, any song I want.
See, I'm YouTube $10 a month kind of girl. I don't have Spotify.
I don't really get why. Because you have to like change the songs. You make playlists.
Right. I don't have time for that shit. YouTube. Does it work? That's how I see it.
Do you watch the videos?
No.
Except for Moo.
Yeah, except for every once in a while I gotta turn it on. But yeah, I mean, no, for the most part, no.
Huh. But then if you exit the YouTube app, it turns off.
No, not when you pay $10 a month.
Oh.
That's what you're paying for. Well, other things too. And then you know what else I love about YouTube is you can download videos and have them on your phone. You can download a lot of them and you can access them offline. And as long as you get on Wi-Fi once every 30 days, they will stay there. So you could be in the middle of the desert. You could be anywhere camping, like off the grid, and still listen to like all your favorite tracks and hours and hours and hours and hours worth of music.
Same with Spotify if you download it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I appreciate that, like being able to save favorite videos and stuff like that. But no, I just don't like things where I have to. I don't want to be the curator because I'm gonna make a playlist with 12 songs. I'm gonna listen to it.
I get bored of them
4,000 fucking times, or I'm gonna be like, I don't know what I'm in the mood for. R&B, reggae. I don't know. I can't decide right now, and I don't. It's decision fatigue, man. Like I just want to put on one song, and then I want YouTube to just serve me hours of music that is in that lane.
How about? So let's talk about Pandora for a second.
I don't fuck with Pandora either.
No, I don't. I'm just curious, like, kind of where are they at in all this?
Yeah, what happened to Pandora?
Where's Pandora?
Did they get back into the box? Like,
well,
what
I will
happened?
say, I will say, I think Mindspace. They have. I'm like, oh, like what? Why is it the same playlist every day? Like it's Pandora. I'm like, who listens to Pandora anymore?
No, us here. By the way, I'd like to shout out Bob Marley for being born today.
Oh, yeah. What's up? Happy birthday.
February 6th. Happy birthday, Bob Marley. Also, little local news. Pinky Killicorn is having her album release party tonight at Big Chief for all people that are listening. See you at the club.
Oh, actually, we have two, but one of them might be Meso.
Yeah, I might be the other one, but, can't win them all. But, we decided to start this show because, we want to talk about this stuff. We want to talk about podcasting. We want to talk about video production. And we work in a studio every day, so we figure why not put this equipment to use. So if you're enjoying what you're here, if you like what we're talking about, shoot us some questions, We know that you can't hear us right now because you're not watching right this second. But when you tune in and you get this, comment on the video, like put, ask us some questions, man. Like talk about some shit with us, maybe we will even have like a call-in option at some point. Oh yeah.
I think you can make it a call to action, get calls.
Yeah.
Facebook has I think there's a new call to action in posts added every single day.
Is there one that's like bring me whiskey?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you can integrate Drizzly into it and just be like, so then when we're done, it's already here sort of thing.
Every time I say whiskey, like a new bottle shows up.
Yeah.
Whiskey.
Well, we will be served ads right after this because Facebook's listening, so.
Yeah, well, as long as they bring me some whiskey, I'm fine with that. But right on, man. Well, I think I don't know what else we can talk about with this Spotify thing. I think we just kind of have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, keep an eye on it and see what happens, see what else they acquire. And also just I think the biggest part of this acquisition is it is being definitely industry-wide adopted. I mean, it's being corporatized, commercialized. Yeah, right. Commercialized. That's That's the right term that I'm looking for.
Well, yeah, and I mean, before we actually end, I mean, that's a really great point. It's like, I mean, podcasting is so relevant for every business.
Right.
Like, I was thinking about doing like a speed podcasting event where like people sit at tables and I go from like table to table and I show them, like, tell them how like podcasting can be relevant for their business. You'd be like, bam, bam. Because literally, there's not an industry that couldn't benefit from having a podcast.
Right.
Especially when you look at the word podcast or what is a podcast. A podcast is just any form of like video or audio communication in any kind of a long form that can be replayed, right? So it could be a number of different formats. It could be delivered a bunch of different ways. Technically, this is a podcast, even though it doesn't fit all the standard, marks or whatever. I guess if you ask somebody 10 years ago or 5 years ago what a podcast is compared to today, you get very different answers.
Webcast,
Vlogs.
Yeah, vlogs.
What'd you call it last week?
Vlogcast.
A vlogcast.
I mean, I'm trying to find definition around the specificities of these different streamings, Is it a show? Is it a podcast? Is it a vlogcast?
That sounds like an STD or like a medical procedure or I don't know what, but it doesn't sound pleasant.
It doesn't. I don't like the word that much.
No.
I was just trying to, create something new.
I know.
I was trying to make fetch happen,
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, when I was starting Heartcast Media, I was trying to find like a website with like podcast or cat. It's not happening.
Heartcast Media.
Oh, Heartcast, yeah.
I like it.
I had to make some shit up, But hey, here we are.
Here we are.
In the studio.
At
Mindspace.
Mindspace.
Shout out to Mindspace, y'all.
Shout out. We love Mindspace, by the way. You should check them out.
That's right. It's a co-working space on 13th and K
Yes.
Northwest in the Washington Post building.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful space, and it's got really awesome community managers. Shout out to Janelle, Thea, Katie, woo, and Eric.
Yeah, and Eric. Oh, and Shy.
And Shy, of course. But he's not a community manager. He's the
Right. But
he's the head honcho.
He's the head honcho. He's in San Fran right now.
That's probably an offensive word. Do we know what honcho means? You probably can't say that anymore.
No. I'm not even going to try to say something else that could be offensive.
Exactly. He's good. Very good.
He's good.
So yeah, man. So yeah, shout out to Mindspace, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to the show. We're gonna do our best to go live every day.
We work in a studio. We might as well use the microphones, right? And we have our own podcast, so
exactly. That's right. So I'm gonna shout out Jenn's podcast. It's called. I'm gonna shout out yours, and you're gonna shout out mine. We'll see if we can get it right.
Deal.
So Jenn's podcast is called A Dose of Your Future, and it's for the emerging workforce of millennials entering into.
Well, it's the next generation.
Okay, you try. You do it.
Okay,
You'll do a better job.
Yeah, because lower third, I'm not really sure.
I know that's
exactly
what makes it
what
fun.
It's about yet.
I might have to.
Okay, cool. Because I didn't know what a dose of your. Actually, I didn't have a name for my podcast in the probably first 5 episodes, maybe 6. Shout out to my friend JJ Rubofsky for actually giving me the name A Dose of Your Future. Can't take credit for that.
And shout out to Katie for making you a new logo.
Exactly. Shout out to Katie for the new logo. But about maybe probably end of last year, the concept really came through, and the mission is to really empower the next generation of our workforce.
Right.
The younger generation. As a millennial, I can't say I felt that welcomed into the workforce at first. Mind you, I understand, but I want them to feel empowered and really know what's coming ahead. And at the same time, I want to learn from them too. There's a lot that they know that I don't know, and there's a lot that other generations know that they don't. So that's kind of one of my social impact missions, if you will. So A Dose of Your Future. That's
right. It has nothing to do with acid, by the way.
No. Now don't put that in people's heads.
Don't worry. Everyone's shaking their head at me right now, so don't worry. All right, so what's the Lower Third podcast all about?
Lower Third is first episode hasn't been released yet, but it's going to bring on some really awesome people who are actually, what makes you wake up in the morning, right? Like if you're an entrepreneur, independent maker, so many different words, CEOs, owners, what makes you wake up in the morning to do what you hopefully love, right? But that's what it is. And bringing on these innovators, hate that word, but I love it at the same time, entrepreneurs, don't like the word hustler either, so I'm going to veer away from that one. Yeah, just hustle. Anyways, but that's who Molly will be interviewing. So I'm really excited to see who you have in store.
That was awesome. That was a great job.
Thank you. I actually just remembered that. I was like, we spoke about this like a bunch of times.
I mean, I produced your show. I should have done a better job with the tagline, but we'll work on that.
Sad.
we'll work on that. So yeah, tune into my podcast. It hasn't been released, but it's called The Lower Third, and Jen's is A Dose of Your Future, which comes out every Tuesday, if I'm not correct.
Dose of Your Future Tuesday.
If I'm not mistaken, rather.
Just made that one up last week. So.
And Dose of Your Future Tuesday, it could use a little work, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
You know?
Thanks, producer.
But it's it's a great show. I like it a lot, and you guys should definitely check it out. It really is good, and it's short and it's sweet and it's to the point. It's definitely not a waste of time by any means. It's a good use of your time if you exist in the business world at all. Honestly. No matter what age you are.
No matter what age you are. That is true.
That's the most important thing.
Yep.
For sure. Right on. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tune us out. But please, if you're listening, please subscribe, like, comment, post your questions, whatever. We'll be back tomorrow with another broadcast of the Jenn and Molly Show.
Yep.
Gang,
Holding
gang.
us accountable.
Hey, that's right. Hold us accountable. Please. And send whiskey.